Hey everybody, Spider here, the Coming Soon podcast, of course, being joined by CJ Hancock. My man, how are you, brother?
Good. How's it going, bro?
Man, I'm doing great, bro. Now, of course, I was able to meet you a couple of months back. This was in Austin, Texas for cash wrestling competition, man. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, you are a competitor, uh, veteran of Bellator MMA, of course, and many competitions when it comes to grappling. But one of the reasons I have you on here, man, is of course because of your acting role. Now, you've been coming acting in a few roles already as far as movies. And
Yeah.
how does that jump from competitive sports to acting? How did that happen?
Well, honestly, it kind of happened by luck. The first role that I ever got was from that movie Lion Killer. It's actually a movie about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that kind of fit together. I was also the fight choreographer, so I was the bad guy and the fight choreographer. And the reason how I got that was really just luck because the guy, I think he had did an interview for me or interviewed me for MMA, something to do with MMA a
Right.
long time ago. And then he was making his own movie, and
Oh, nice.
so what happened was the guy that was actually supposed to play my part ended up not showing up at the last second. And he's like, "Hey, you look kind of like a scary guy. You think you could maybe try this out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to try that out." So, I took off work and I went down there, and he did better than I thought I was going to do.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting quite a few lines in that movie, and it was a lot of fun. And getting paid for
Oh,
my first movie was awesome. You know what I mean? And just falling into it too, not trying to. Because now that I'm into it, I see there's a lot of people that are really trying really hard to get in there. You know what I mean? Like taking free roles and not getting paid and doing all kinds of stuff and just like trying to get in the door. And so I was really lucky to get my foot in the door with a speaking role nonetheless,
right.
and a pretty big one. Because like Regina Ting Chin, the lady that's the main actress from that movie, I
Right.
mean, she went on to do big things. She has a main character in the Stranger Things. She's like the I think like the therapist lady or something like that. But that's a big role. She was actually in Black Adam too, as well. So it's like, will that happen to me? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not taking it as serious as she is. As I'm still competitive and stuff like that. And so I mean, I have a lot going on right now. But she ended up, I think, moved to another state because that's how serious she was about it. And I'm not ready to make that kind of commitment. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a big role, they're like, hey, and a major movie, that okay, I'm gonna take the trip. But other than that, yeah, who knows what's going to happen, But so far, it's just been a lot of small roles, but it's a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot, and I think I've gotten a lot better each time. I can't wait to share the new one that I'm in. It's about Bigfoot, and it's my first lead role, and I think I
Oh,
did pretty
man.
good. Everybody that I've showed it so far too said I did good. I can't post it yet because we're submitting it to film festivals and stuff like that. So.
Gotcha, man. That's actually pretty cool, man. I actually binged out on Bigfoot movies all last week, bro. Every week I'm doing a whole new thing, and I watched a couple of good ones, man. I mean, of course,
Nice.
the
The
story.
one I'm in is more of a comedy, but I talk like a cat, like a southerner the whole time.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, man. So that'd be interesting. And talking about as far as the voices you've been doing, man, because there was a movie role where you actually had to improv like a Russian accent, bro. And you told me that was
Yeah.
for the moment.
So far I've had to do a Russian accent, like a medieval bad guy, a cowboy accent, and just like my normal accent. And so far, it's tricky each time trying to figure out how to change it and stuff. And I literally just figured this out myself. Like I never went to school for acting or voice, accents or any of
Right.
that stuff. I just had to figure it out myself. So, but it's fun. It's another challenge for me.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, you said you do a cowboy accent, you do a bad guy, medieval. But I mean, when you say you and then you do yours, well, how would you describe your accent, bro?
Like my accent.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. People said I have an accent, but I don't know. I don't know if I have an accent. You know what I mean? Like my normal. And I'm from Arizona, so I guess that's where my accent's from. But I don't think I really have an accent.
No, no, I have noticed like when you do speak at the end of every word, you do have a little twang, man. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. I wouldn't just know how to describe it, but yeah, I don't know if that's an accent, but I mean, you can definitely know when you're speaking, man, because you do have that.
but yeah, everybody's told me that. Yeah. Like, where are you from? I'm like, Arizona. They're like, what?
Man. But of course, I mean, you are here in Texas, man, and the last time I think you were Houston area.
What?
As far as living right now?
Yeah, I'm living in Houston. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And as far as, I mean, you mentioned the whole movie road, man, because some people do move out of state to pursue other careers, man. I mean,
Yeah.
what's going on in Houston? I mean, is there any big film productions going on down
Well, I wouldn't say there's any real big film productions here, but there's a lot of like, what's it called? Like
there? Indie films?
independent films and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And obviously it doesn't pay a whole lot, but for me, it's at this level, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. You know what I mean?
Right.
And soak it up. And then if something goes further, then cool. I mean, eventually I plan on opening my own gym. So,
Nice.
but right now I'm just kind of like competing and acting. But the thing about acting, it's weird. There's a lot of people in acting that are just like full of BS. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they'll say they'll make all kinds of crazy promises. You just have to take everything as like it could happen or it could be complete nonsense. You know what I mean? So and it's hard to it's not like there's just an immediate direction to take that next big step. People are like, well, you should get an agent. It's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to get an agent. I've looked into it and stuff like that. You can try those talent agencies and stuff like that. But that's the thing too. A lot of those talent agencies is just a rip off. I went to one and they were just trying to sell headshots. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
And that it's there's usually some kind of gimmick they're trying to push to make money. And unfortunately, I'm sure there's good ones out there. I just, I'm not really sure how to pursue that, but that's why I just, whatever comes my way, whatever God wants to send my way, cool. And if not, competing is always there. And then, eventually down the road, opening my gym and, it's just having fun, just living life,
Yeah, I mean, I get you, man, because even myself, I mean, doing the podcast, I mean, of course, we have the hard podcast now. It's more based towards movies and film, but I'm doing it for the same reason, just because I want to have fun with this. The
Right.
fight card podcast is still there, man, and I still interview fighters as yourself. But this is something more creative, more artistic, and I wanted to get into that aspect because one of the things I tell people, I mean, growing up in high school, I had an opportunity to take photography, be in theater, do all these different artistic classes, and at the end, I just left, man. I was too shy, I was too embarrassed, and I didn't do any of them. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do them. Whatever comes out there, I'm gonna jump on that opportunity and see what happens, man. Because I want to
And
have
you
fun
got
with it as
to,
well.
because like the stuff that you don't do, you're just going to end up regretting down the road,
No, no, for sure, man. And let me ask you, bro, because like you said, you took that opportunity. I mean, you were supposed to be choreographing the fight scene. But when they told you, okay, you're gonna act, I mean, what was your mindset? Were you like, okay, like what the heck do I do?
No, I was actually really excited. And I don't know, like I have like this blessing to where I'm just like, I'm really comfortable in front of cameras. Like for instance, I was when I used to teach at this other gym, we were trying to shoot a commercial and my friend, who's a great guy, Chris, but he was having a real hard time, with his lines, in the commercial and me, I just did it real smooth. It was easy, and he had to keep going. He was sweating and breathing, so like,
Nice.
luckily I don't have that. A lot of people have that kind of thing in front of cameras. They get like, and then they forget their lines and it doesn't look natural. And luckily I don't forget my lines and I'm just smooth and chill. For me, it's a lot of fun. You know what I mean? It's like once you, for instance, fighting at the Toyota Center, right? For Bellator, you walk out there, you fight another trained athlete in front of all those people. There's not really much more that gets, I mean, once you've done that, this is like fun. You know what I mean? This is just like, oh, this is nice, and especially on certain sets. Now, some sets, it's it's not so fun, especially if you're an extra and you have to sit around for 5 hours, you know what I mean, waiting to stand around, you know what I mean? But it's cool, you got to take what you can get. But like for instance, the Lion Killer set, now that was a blast because I mean those people were so cool. They were waving us down with fans and they were like, hey, can we give you something to drink, giving you some Gatorade, you know what I mean? Like it was awesome. They were really took care of us, you know what I mean? So that part was so much fun.
No, yeah, for sure, man. And one of the things about movies, because a lot of people, a lot of times I watch old movies and I don't realize that a lot of the actors that are A-listers were in horror films that never went anywhere. They were good, but they weren't like big productions.
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing, But you see people now, and is that kind of? I mean, did you grow up watching that, and are you thinking, okay, you know what, I could do that, but I just want to get up here, like after?
Yeah, you know what I mean, and that's why I always try to take every opportunity that comes my way if I can manage my time around it. because you never know. You know what I mean? You never know which ones are going to make, for instance, there's a lot of movies that make it that you look at and you're like, what? You don't understand it. But then, sometimes there's movies that, it's like low budget. And like that one movie, it was, I didn't watch it, but it was a horror movie, but it had a really small budget and it blew up all over. It was theaters. What was it called? Terrifier or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You ever hear that? Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it was all over the place. You know what I mean? They ended up making a killing on that. So,
yeah.
you never know what's going to just like spark interest and then boom, it's going to spread like wildfire, So I try to take every opportunity that I get because there's a lot of those. There's not a lot, but there's a few, those small ones breaking through, so you never know.
No,
and you're right. Like there's a lot of movies that nobody's ever seen with major actors in them back before they had a name for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see movies like that all the time. I'm just like, what? This guy's in this movie? Like, but yeah, it's crazy.
You see, and that's one of the things I notice even now because I'll go back and I'll watch films from the 80s and early 90s and I'm thinking, oh man, like I never noticed, songs on there. And it's like, I forgot which one I saw yesterday. And I was just like, damn, dude, like everybody in there was like they went somewhere.
A major actor.
Yeah. So that's
right. Yeah. Cool. No, I love it. 80s and 90s movies are the best, man.
Yeah.
They just don't make them like that anymore,
No, you see, and I noticed a lot of indie film, makers are actually leaning a little bit more towards that because
they're trying to,
yeah, they're trying to because I mean having to get everything to set up in the film and everything the same way is kind of hard, but I mean with apps out there, man, who knows, bro?
Right.
But man, as far as film, man, I mean, do you have anything lined up? I mean, I know you said the Bigfoot, but anything else you're working on?
So I actually have a thing this weekend that I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to be able to make it to yet. It's like an hour out of town, but it's like a vampires versus soldiers, some kind of movie. But it would just basically be a fight scene. It wouldn't be a speaking role. I still got to I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to be able to make it to that yet or not. But
oh man,
other than that, I don't really have anything lined up right now. Just been focused on just competing a lot, because I've been competing so much. It's kind of been hard to spend time looking for things. I've had a couple of possibilities, but they were like, they didn't pay. And it's like, the one this weekend, they're kind of friends of mine that I've worked with before. They're cool. But like, if I'm going to drive out of town and it's not going to, I've actually been lucky enough so far to not have to do every role I've ever done. Even the extra ones that I've done so far have been paid. Even if it was just a little bit of money, I got paid for everything so far. So if I do take a non-paid role, it's going to be the first time. But it's more like I said, like right now at this level, it's like more of a hobby to me. So if a non-paid role comes up that's like really good, then I'll take it. Oh, I actually do have something I might get. I don't know yet. He hasn't told me yet, but I might be playing an officer, Steve, in this one movie. So we'll see what happens with that. And that's actually would be a good role for me. It's a non-paid role, but the guy has really good lines where he gets angry. And so I could show like my acting skills. And that's a big part of what I've been trying to do too, is like with the different accents and showing that I can do more than just one thing,
No, for sure, man. And I'm going to show this, bro, because of course, the IMDb, man, I mean, this is important, man. I mean, I know a lot of people that are in film and are trying to make it into film. I mean, why is something like that important for somebody like yourself?
Well, IMDb is, honestly, I don't know. I can't really say IMDb is, I mean, it's kind of, you want to at least have it,
Right.
But I can't say it's like super important. A lot of the opportunities that they have on there in California. And that was another thing, I moved to California for 6 months. And I was thinking, I didn't move there to become an actor, but I thought, hey, I'm moving there. Maybe I could do something with this,
Right.
And what I found out was it was basically the same thing. Small roles, indie type films, $100 to $200 a day. You know what I mean? It's just nothing good, nothing more than that. So I was like, and I hated it there. So I was like, I got to get out of here. So I ended up coming back to Houston because, I was like, oh man, it felt good to get back to it. I'll tell you what, but it's so far, that's all I've been able to find is those like, the smaller ones, but that's why I'm trying to put together, these different accents, different ways of acting. So that way I have kind of like a reel of my acting that, maybe I can show to, a producer or a director that's on the next level, or maybe they'll see it. You know what I mean? You never know.
No, for sure, man.
Open the door.
And one of the things that as well, dude, like you mentioned earlier, as far as your fight game, your career, I mean, when you or even now, like competing, I mean, you're under the bright lights, you're used to talking to people, being in front of a camera. I mean, that speaking role, I was going to bring that up earlier, but did that kind of help with that because you're used to it?
Yeah, I'll agree. Like, that's what I was like. I don't get that nervousness in front of the camera like a lot of people do. And I think it's because of dealing, fighting for so long. You know what I mean? Once you fight in front of a whole bunch of people and they're just watching you, that's got to be like probably the most, nerve-wracking thing you
Oh
can
yeah.
do. And then so like once you've done that, it's like this is a breeze. So I think fighting definitely helped me be comfortable in front of the camera a lot,
No, no, for
for
sure, man.
sure. And
Now,
then obviously it helped with the fight choreography because especially with the movie that's about jujitsu, I was able to because the other people in that movie are mainly actors. In some of the extras they actually do jujitsu. Now the funny thing is actually the guy that was the good guy in the movie. He didn't do jujitsu, but since the movie started, he's been doing jujitsu, and I think he's like a blue or purple belt now. So
oh,
that's
nice.
pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it definitely helps, man, because I mean, of
Yeah.
course, when it comes to the fight game, I know that it's different. I mean, it's not real where as far as when you get hit but I mean,
Right.
when it comes to something like that, are you looking at taking classes for that, or are you already like too far in?
No, honestly, I feel pretty comfortable with fight choreography. I mean, it's you're basically just pulling your punches. It's like you're sparring with a kid. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It,
okay, never
and
thought
now
about it.
you do have to. Now, obviously, you have to make it more flashy. Sometimes some of the stuff might not be so realistic. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I see on that BS martial arts page sometimes they'll post stuff of fight choreography, and I'm just like, I guess they're like, oh, this is such BS. I'm like, look, obviously it's not going to work, okay, but it looks cool in a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. Nobody wants to see, two guys, doing a Muay Thai fight in a movie where they're not actually doing anything but
Right.
this the whole time. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like it's got to look flashy. You got to have some crazy spins that aren't going to work. But hey, it looks cool. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel actually pretty comfortable. I don't think I really need to take classes. I mean, maybe if I take it to the next level. But then again, I'm not interested in doing like I'm not so hungry to become like a famous actor to where I'm willing to do a whole bunch of like stuntman stuff and a whole bunch of just fight because I've been offered to be just a fight choreographer in movies and I'm like, yeah, I'll pass. If I have a speaking role and I'm a fight choreographer,
Yeah.
cool, but I'm not gonna just do. It's just not for me. It's not fun, and
Yeah.
I want to life. I'm 37 years old. Life is short. I don't have kids yet, but my girlfriend's got 2 kids, so I'm getting practice with them. They're 5 and 6, but it's life. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, you know what I mean. Like after, for instance, I'm pretty sure back when my heart stopped in the cage
Yeah.
from cutting too much weight. You know what I mean. When something like that happens to you, you realize you're like, and then man, it's just every day, man. It's really sad. I don't know if you heard about what happened to David Armas, man. Like,
Yes, bro.
it's terrible. You know what I mean? It's like the guy's healthy and out of nowhere. And the crazy thing is that's happened to like 4 or 5 of my training friends, partners around the Houston area in the last 4 or 5 years. So it's like, when that kind of stuff happens, it's like it makes me think. I'm like, dude, if I'm not enjoying this, I don't want to wait. I don't want to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm not enjoying myself, I'm gonna move along because that's the whole reason why I'm doing it. Like whether I get paid or not, if it's not fun or like if I don't like the people I'm working with, I'm go. But so far in acting, I've pretty much liked everybody I've had to work with so far. Everybody's been really cool. They're usually really cool, humble, down to earth. Some of the actors, not so much. Some of them, think they're a little cooler than they are, but that's all right, But for the most part, everybody's really cool and down to earth. So it's a blast.
No, you see, and that's one of the things too, man. Because I've been hitting up a lot of conventions since like October last year, and I've been meeting a lot of these actors of past and some present, and everybody's cool, man. Like everybody's laid
Yeah.
back, and by the time I start talking to them, like I forget like who they are as far as So we're just hanging out, and before we know it, I'm like sitting next to people, man, and just kind of like hanging out with them for the day. So I'm having a blast, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Now, let
Yeah.
me ask you, when it comes to as far as the roles, man, what are you looking for as far as a role? I mean, like you said, it's got to be fun, but is there one in specific?
For me, the dream role for me is like that, Ragnar or Braveheart or you know what I mean, 13th Warrior, you know what I mean, Conan the Barbarian, something like that. that would be my dream role. You know what I mean? But my real goal is I want to have like a legitimate award in acting. If I could get one legitimate award in acting, I would be like, you know, I've gotten a few little small awards. That's cool, but if I get one like good one, like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll be happy. Not that I'll drop it at that point. I'll keep going as long as I can because,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
it's just,
but I
it's
mean,
fun for me. But
it would
and
be
the cool thing
exciting and
about
that's
acting is you can do that and, you know, run a gym at the same time, you know?
no, you see, and you have mentioned that also. So how would that? I mean, say if you do get a role and they're like, hey, you're gonna be busy. We got you like 3 roles for the year, and you'll be busy the whole year, man. I mean, would you still have to set back your dream of opening up a gym?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, if something like that was to happen, it would be like, you know, that's you basically put your whole life on hold and just go with it. But it has to be worth it, you know.
Right,
If it's,
right.
you know,
And as far as TV, man, because a lot of times, I mean, even now, I've got some friends here in Texas that have made it and are acting and actually on shows on Netflix and you know that's all they do, and I'm freaking jealous because they travel and get to do what they love. But
yeah,
you know, I mean, something like that happens to you too, man. I mean, are you willing to stick with something and just keep going?
yeah, of course, man. And you know, on a lot of these TV shows, they breed, you know, top level actors. You know what I mean? They start out in those shows, and then all of a sudden they get noticed, and you know, so anything like that came along my way, I would definitely jump on it.
No, for sure, man. I forget, man, and I can't the comedian's name, bro. I mean, he's all over the place. Riff. I went blank earlier. I was trying to bring him up, but I mean, he's been in a couple of horror films as well. And when I saw him, I was like, I know I remember him from being a comedian for a lot of these roles. But that's one of the guys too. Like, you know, I saw him and I was like, man, I know I've seen this guy. And I was going through the Google and the movie popped up, and I said, oh, okay, well, you know what? I mean, nobody remembers him from that movie, and now he's over here making millions off of his comedy tour. But
Right?
you know, but as far as something like that, man, I mean, of course, I mean, when it comes to combative sports, you know, being an athlete, being an actor, is there something else that you're setting as far as a goal? I mean, like right now, are you working on anything
Right
else?
now, I mean, not really. Yeah, I mean, like acting, competing, and that's about it.
You see,
And
and what
eventually, you
about
know, starting the process of like, you know, figuring out what I need to do and getting it, you know, my thoughts in a line to open my own gym. But other than that, just those things.
you see, but what about doing commentary for some of these promotions? I mean, have you ever thought about that, like getting paid to do some commentary?
Yeah, I mean, I would be down to do that. I've never done it before, but yeah, I would if I got offered, I would do that.
Nice, bro. And as far as your fight career, man, I mean, are you retired or how's that going?
Well, you know, as it comes to MMA, I would love to fight again. Whether you know, no matter what that be, I wanted to even do like some of that combat jujitsu, but they won't even let me do that. So
Man,
any combat sports, whether it's kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing, MMA, even combat jujitsu. I'm not allowed to do any of those things in America anyway. So
right, right.
I did get offered a fight in the UK a long time ago, and I almost took it, but it was just bad timing because it was during the time we were filming Lion Killer, and
Oh man,
yeah,
yeah.
and they weren't going to pay me that much anyway. But for them to pay for my whole trip, my hotel, my all that, and give me some cash, it was going to be worth it. But the timing was just bad, and I'm definitely glad that I went with Lion Killer. Because acting is honestly way more fun than fighting. Like now, I will say, nothing beats that feeling. You know what I mean? Getting your hand raised at the end of a fight. You know, like even competing jiu-jitsu, it's fun, and winning gold medals and belts and stuff. But when you get your hand raised after a fight, that feeling you get, there's nothing that I've ever felt that even comes close to that. So, you know, that's that you know, I will say when you watch yourself on the big screen, like if you go to like that Russian when I played the
Yeah,
when I say
bro.
so we make you do all hard work and then we take from you like candy from baby.
Yeah.
So that when I said that was we over at Cinemark in Memorial City. So watching that on and now it was a small part. That's all I said in the whole movie. And then there was a fight scene and I got my ass kicked. But seeing that on the big screen at Cinemark, it's when you see yourself on on a big screen like that, it feels pretty good. You know what I mean? Like it's
Oh,
almost that feeling of getting your hand raised, but not quite. You know?
Yeah, because it's like you said, it's kind of like knowing yourself, like you made it, you did this, you've been there, like I'm sure being in the fight game and seeing yourself on posters and seeing yourself, put up on the screen, it's gotta motivate you, man. So I'm pretty sure it's the same thing, right? It'll
Yeah,
motivate you to
yeah.
keep going. Man, I was looking up this guy's name. That guy Matt Riff was the one I was thinking about. Man, he's actually been on a couple of horror films before. I think he's been done a few films, but he's done 2 horror films that I've seen. So it's just but now he's all over the place. He's trending, and that was the word I was going to tell you earlier because a lot of times a movie trends for some reason out of nowhere, and then people get found and they're like, oh man, that's that guy from this movie or such and such. But I mean, when it comes to you, man, I mean, of course, you're making it, you're making movies, you're out there putting your name, and sky's the limit, just like in the fight game, bro. You never know what you're gonna get or when it's gonna come, but it will. You keep pushing at it.
That's true.
And bro, and let me ask you now. I mean, of course, you said you're comfortable doing choreograph as far as fight scene. Have you thought about teaching that, like to other people looking into to get into film?
So actually, one of the guys, the actors that I've worked with before, when I talked to him about opening up a gym eventually, he said I should do it now because I told him I didn't want to do it right now because I wanted to try to get as many of these these roles, like different ones, you know what I mean,
Right.
to kind of build a portfolio, you know what I mean. And he said, man, you should do it now and just have one of your classes be that. You know what I mean? Not only is it going to bring, because that a lot of the thing with acting that I've noticed is I mean, you can try your luck with these like talent agencies or like the casting things online, but really like a lot of the time it's like handshakes, man. Like it's like you know what I mean? Because I worked with him on set, he's cool, and they're like okay, you know what I mean. But like a lot of that is like who you know. So having something like that would possibly bring in new opportunities as well, you know.
Yeah. No, no,
But
that
I I don't know. Like I don't know how big a draw would be for that. You know what I mean?
right.
And it's like because like the subculture of acting in Houston is like I mean it's there's a lot of them, but I think they're spread out. You know what I mean? I think a lot of them are spread out all over Houston and Austin, Dallas. So it's like I don't know if there would even be anybody in this area because I live in Maryland. It's kind of like by the Galleria, but not like it's past the Galleria. But I don't know if anybody in this area would even. I'm pretty sure nobody that I know of anyway lives over here. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
No, no,
But
for
right now,
sure.
that's not like my main focus.
No, 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 definitely, man. But I was gonna say, man, because myself, you talked about the doing some fight, doing the fight scenes and actually teaching. I used to teach back in 2005, man, and we are actually inside a mall. Now, the mall itself, I mean, you walk by there, it's got like a glass window, and every once in a while they used to have uh, like job fairs, and there'd be a big old line in front of the class. So I get there in the morning. And I look at it, the guys in the morning, and I'd be like, "Hey, you know what? We got a live audience, man. We're gonna make it look good." So we would go over moves, but we made, like you said, is when it comes to acting, people don't want to see one guy in the guard, and they're like, man, this guy's been there like 30 minutes, But
Right.
we used to do the throws, go for arm bars, and go over technique, and because of that, people would sign up. So, but I mean,
Ah.
we did used to teach that, but I mean, it kind of back then, that's kind of what made me want to think about acting or getting into something myself because I was just like, you know what, man, I know I can do it. I mean, the fight scene, I don't think I can do that now, but when it comes to like just being in a film, like I myself want to do that. But I mean, for yourself, I'm sure, man. I mean, you'll find roles and things to be able to venture into and get into, man. When it comes to the
Have
big.
you tried? Have you been in anything?
No, I'm actually, man. And it's one of those like right before COVID, I was actually doing auditions here locally, and I did 3 of them. One was for a zombie movie that never went in; it didn't go nowhere. The other 2, I don't know if they did, but the last one that I went to as far as audition, like there was a guy there, and he was like, "Hey, man, good luck, man." But these all these local people, they already know each other, bro. Like they use the same people. They just do this to build it up, and it made me realize like, okay, well, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway. And the guy that I was playing, his name was Bill, and so I get in there, and the guy's like, "Hey, how's it going? What's your name?" And I was like, "Bill." And they kind of look at me like, "Look at this guy for real," But I just acted the whole thing, man, and it was funny. I laughed about it later, but I mean, they got a good laugh out of it. But it was I want to get into it now. I want to be. I mean, not like yourself. I don't want to do any as far as contact, but I wouldn't mind being in the film and being part of it, as far as even if it's behind the scenes and just being involved. That's what I'm
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's lots of opportunity for it. It's just the problem is that you got to sift through a lot of nonsense to get to the good stuff,
Yeah.
But it's there, I mean, the opportunities are there, and if I hear about anything, I can let you know.
No, for sure, man.
I
Because I know I
can't think of anything right now.
Yeah, because I see you out there, and I know you're hustling when it comes to the competitions and the movie roles. So the same way, man. If I hear something, I'll tag you on it and see if it fits and see if it gets you paid for one thing, but definitely get you that role that you want, the speaking role and everything else.
That's what I've been doing, though. I've been trying to compete and get as many medals and belts and stuff that I can. So that way, when I do eventually open a gym, you know what I mean, I got a whole wall full of. Because I tell you what, I used to work for when we first opened this premiere in Jersey Village, and it made it real easy because like when I did the lesson one, basically they come in, they see like a bunch of belts and medals on the ground, and they were like, the kids would freak out. And I signed up like 98 out of like 105 people. So yeah, so I'm like, I just want to get a whole as many as I can, so that way, and I already have a bunch, but I get as many as I can. And before I'm too old, before I start falling apart,
No, well, for sure, man. Like you said, as long as you keep having fun, I can't see you stopping till then, So of course, get all the experience and the belts and medals that you can, for now. But man, I mean, when it comes to this, bro, I want to thank you, for jumping back on this. I would like to be able to bring you on here even more. Maybe when you got time during the week or during the month, man, I'll bring you on and we'll go ahead and keep plugging you in as well. That's the whole thing. You do this for me, and I'll do that in return, brother. But
yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah, and anything else before you wrap this up, bro?
No, I don't really got. I mean, other than that, I think that's all I got. I don't really have anything lined up right now.
No, not a problem, man. But of course, I appreciate you jumping on.
But I'll send you that. I'll send you. I can send it to you. I can't post it yet, but I can send it to you so you can check it out. The big.
Oh yes, bro. Yes, I want to see that, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Tell me let me know what you think. I'm goofy. I'm goofy in it because it's kind of like a comedy one. So
man, I got to see that one.
Talk like this. So.
No, not a problem, man. But of course, don't hang up yet. But everybody out there, of course, go ahead and support the man. Follow him up. This is Spider, the Coming Soon podcast. Till next time, follow up.